over the course of the last 8 months, going back to January, through our off-season conditioning, then through spring practice, and then the summer, and now the conclusion of camp through August. So I say this all the time. I think character and attitude is critical and important in a good football team, and I've been really impressed with the character and attitude of this team. I love their work ethic. I love the camaraderie, the closeness of this team, and I think this is a close-knit team that truly cares about one another and truly cares about playing hard for one another. So I like where we're at. You know, we've had some unfortunate injuries throughout camp on some really key guys that we're not going to have, but that's part of the adversity that you're faced with every year. And the guys that are replacing them have got an opportunity to step up and contribute to this football team, and I think they will. And that doesn't minimize the importance of those players that we lost, because they were really good football players, especially in Terry and Shane not being able to play this year. So, but really excited about this team. You know, Jack, we open up Saturday, you know, Alabama A&M. Don't know a whole lot about them. We just got their statistical information and too deep and all that. So I know they've got a couple new coaches on defense, and anytime you have an opening game, there's always that unknown. And now with a couple new coaches, a new defensive coordinator on that side, the unknown, the variables become a little bit more. So the record wasn't also hot last year, but that doesn't mean anything. That was last year. Every team, every season is a new start to a season, a different team, and a new team. So we'll worry about us. I told our team that yesterday. It's about us. It's about controlling what we can control and not worrying about what Alabama A&M does. So we've got to have a great week of practice. We got rained out yesterday. You know, so now today or tomorrow, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday are going to be critical in our preparation for Alabama A&M. So with that, I'll take your questions.
Coach, can you tell us a little bit about Itavius' development? And, you know, he's listed as a starter. His development from arriving here to now starting his first game back in Murfreesboro.
I'm really excited about Itavius. I love him as a man. He's a great teammate. He's got a great work ethic. He does everything right, both on and off the field. When he got here in January of 15, from Ole Miss, I don't think he was healthy. He had a little nagging injury. Went through spring practice a little bit, you know, probably missed as much as he went through. And then I told him that he wasn't going to do anything in summer conditioning. He didn't run. He lifted, but he didn't run. And then last fall, he didn't do anything. He just stayed off to the side and rehabbed. Didn't do anything because I said, I want you healthy when you can play. And he got a little bit of work there during the bowl preparation. And then he had then this spring, and anytime I think, especially with a skill athlete, but probably more so a running back, a quarterback, when you're out as long as he was out, there's some rust that you got to knock off, and he's got to get back into it. So I thought he was okay this spring. But when you're, like I said, he was out, you know, for at least a full year, where he did not run the football in a live situation. You know, but he worked extremely hard this summer, and then he's had a phenomenal camp here in August. He's healthy. He looks to probably be in the best shape that he's ever been in, both physically and mentally. So I'm excited about him and what he can do for us this year.
Coach, you mentioned in the kickoff press conference that there were some players on defense that you saw with some leadership capabilities that needed to take the next step. Did any of those guys take that step in camp?
Yeah, I think we've got better leadership on defense now than what we did August 3rd. But really leadership is a daily. You've got to do it daily. You can't be a great leader on Monday and a bad leader on Tuesday. And true to me, leadership really stands out during adversity. When you have a bad day of practice or things aren't going well during the game, that's when you need a leader to really step forward and not yell, not scream. That's not leadership, but to help motivate and to help bring guys along. So I think some of those guys are continuing to learn and continuing to develop, and the real test will be once this season starts this Saturday on how well they're doing. But I've been really pleased with guys that have been put in a playing position where they're playing a lot of snaps now, and their leadership needs to come to the forefront. So I think those guys are doing that, and I've been pleased so far.
Coach, with all the injuries that you have on the outside, how much of an emphasis does that put on your running game to be pretty stellar?
Not any more than what it would have needed to be if Shane and Terry and we're going to be at Jock, we're going to be able to play this year. So I've said it since January that we don't need to run the ball more than what we did last year. We need to run the ball more efficiently, and I think we'll be able to do that. So, we're not going to not do this offensively because we've lost 3 receivers, or we're not going to do this because we don't have that. So nothing's changing. We just have to be a little bit more efficient running the ball than what we were last year, and I think we are. I think we will be. I know we will be.
Coach, transfers have become commonplace, and talk about how like Dennis Andrews and Deontay Evans have been able to come in and help shore up positions that you, well, one by injury, one by graduation, that needed some older statesmen in there, I guess.
Well, both those guys graduated, Dennis from Georgia Tech and Deontay from Mississippi State. So the good thing for Dennis, he was able to get here in the summer. So he got acclimated. With Deontay, he didn't graduate from Mississippi State until like August 7th or 8th, 9th, and then by the time you got transcripts in. So he's only been with us for a week, but they bring some maturity. They've both played in games. They're both going to be able to contribute to us this year. They'll give us depth in the special teams, and they'll give us depth offensively and defensively. So I've really enjoyed coaching both of them. They've got a wonderful attitude. They're very appreciative. They're hard-working young men. So, I'm hopeful that they'll be able to finish out their college career on a positive note as well. So, but I really like both those guys, and, we had afforded them an opportunity to continue playing college football.
Coach, it could always change before Saturday, but just glancing at the depth chart, Ty Lee, true freshman, starting at wideout. What did you see in him in camp? What kind of play are you getting with him?
Well, Ty's a smart football player. He's not a burner. He's not a fast guy, but he plays fast. He's got a great wiggle. He catches the ball well. He listens. He learns. He works. He's got a great attitude. And, with some of the injuries that we've talked about already, it kind of gave a young guy an opportunity to move up pretty quick. So he's done a nice job. I see him being a really productive player for us this year offensively, and might even help us in the kicking game some too. But he's a very smart football player, and he's got a great attitude and works.
You just mentioned special teams. Last year, special teams was a little bit of a struggle, particularly the punting game. Are you feeling better about that aspect of the game this time around?
Yes, we were very, very inconsistent in all our kicking phases last year, and I talked to the team about it in January. It's been an emphasis. We worked on it more in spring practice than we ever have. It's been a critical part of what we've done so far in August. We're kicking the ball, we're punting the ball, we're protecting, we're covering better than what we did last year. So, and I know it's practice, but when we get out in the game, I hope I see the same thing that I've seen in practice so far, but been really pleased with the improvement that we've made in all phases of our kicking game.
Coach, Jeremy Contreras has been with this program now a year. He had some inconsistencies last year, and he had some highlights last year as well. Has he been a little bit more consistent this spring heading into the first game?
A little bit, yeah, I would say so. But you got to do it when the lights come on, and you got to do it when there's not a coach standing out there at practice behind you. But he's had a good August. He's done a lot of good things out there. So it's a challenge for our receivers going against him because he is long and he can get his hands on you. So I think it's our receivers have been able to work against a good defensive back throughout August and throughout the summer. So, but Jeremy he's a good athlete. He can run. He's got what you're looking for in a corner, and I hope he has a special year also.
With so much change and turnover in the defensive linebacking positions and in the secondary, and seniors all across the front on the defensive line, have you seen them do the things you want to see to help take pressure off the back seven?
Yeah, and I like our linebackers that are coming back. They've all played except Miles Harges, and he would have played last year, but he got redshirted because he got hurt. So I like our front seven. They're athletic. You got Darius Harris, you got DJ, you got Miles, you got Chris Melton. All those guys have played. They just, DJ started, but the other ones haven't started. So I like our linebackers. I really do. I think they're athletic and can run, and I've said that since the beginning. They're tough, they're physical, they're smart. And then our front four, those guys are the older, more mature. I mean, they're all seniors up front. So I think you look at it, the front seven, not just the front four. I think that's really right now the strength of our defense, those guys.
Coach, then along there on the front four for you, Shaquille Huff has started the most games so far for coming back this season. What speak to his leadership and his consistency that he's brought to you over the past 3 years up front there?
Well, Shaq is he's very dependable. He's been healthy, throughout his career, which has enabled him. He plays a position where it's hard to stay healthy. So that's been an advantage for him. But he's just very consistent. He's smart. He does what he's supposed to do. He does his job. And, he's not going to wow you with his athleticism or anything like that, but he's strong. He's not real tall, so he's got a great he gets great leverage, and then utilizing that with his strength is an advantage for him. But he plays hard, he plays smart, just a very dependable, tough football player.
With the numbers that Brent put up last season, how do you kind of talk to him about, having the same expectation but not putting too much expectation on it?
It's the same as anything that, and I say this, that individual players should not be judged, by their numbers, what their stats. And a lot of times that happens, and I understand it, but if he only throws for 3,000 yards this year and 4,000 last year, that's pretty impressive. So I'm not going to look at it and say, hey, you threw 4,000 last year, 3,000 this year, you must have had a bad year. That's not the case. So you don't compare one year to the next based on statistics. He's improved in a lot of areas already from last year. So, I just want him, to drive the car, and put us in a position to win games. And that's what a quarterback, that's your job, is to win games, is not to, throw for 5,000 yards or 4,000 yards. Yeah, that's nice and that's great. You're doing a lot of good things, but I don't want people to say, even Richie, you caught 108 balls last year. Well, if you only catch 70 this year, well, what happened? That's not the case. So, I just, play within the system, do your job, and put us in a position to win the game.
You said you're just now getting some information on Alabama A&M. What type of offense or defense do you expect to see on Saturday?
Well, their defensive coordinator came from South Alabama, and they were more of a three-man front at South Alabama. And last year, Alabama A&M was more of a four-man front. So I bet we'll see a mixture of both. They played a lot of man coverage at Alabama A&M and at South Alabama. So I'm sure we'll get a lot of cover one, cover zero. We'll get a bunch of that. And then offensively, they're kind of more of a, spread but run option out of it a little bit. They throw the ball. They don't throw it a whole bunch, but I think he threw for 1,200 or 1,300 yards last year. But they do spread you out and try to, create some one-on-one, space mismatches. There's some, yes, sir. There's that. There's a lot of two-back, three wide, two-back, 20 personnel, run game option out of it also.
Kind of like the excitement, like of finally game week.
That's a great question. Just, I think you still get the butterflies. You still get excited like it's, the first. It's you only play one first game a year, and just the excitement of our players that know that for the last, 3.5, 4 weeks, they've just come over here and get ready to hit each other, and now they get a chance to, really start honing in on a game plan and focusing on an opponent. Because you think about, especially a football player, how much you work, how much you practice to get to play 13 games. You practice so much more than you get to play. And when Saturday gets here, it's just a celebration for all the work that you've done leading up from January to this point, and then you get to do it again next week. So it's just the excitement of, it's our passion, it's your job, but it's your passion, it's what you love doing. As a player, you love playing this game, you love competing, you love the challenge of going out there and the one-on-one matchups and they didn't do this and now they're doing this, and adjusting to things, and just the whole competition of the opportunity to go out and play a game for 60 minutes.
Deang Ballard, quarterback for A&M, kind of a scrambling type quarterback. Is there anybody in practice that's going to simulate him, or what's the preparation like for a scrambling type quarterback like him?
Well, Miller Armstrong, he'll do a great job. He's a scout team quarterback some, and you just, again, you can't prepare. A scrambling quarterback, you just got to do your job. And every quarterback's going to break out of the pocket sometime throughout the course of a game. And you've just got to, the same thing that if you're in man coverage and the quarterback scrambles, you don't leave your man to come off him and go up and try to make the tackle on the quarterback, and he dumps one over your head. So you just got to do your job, and hopefully we can contain him. Hopefully we'll stay in our rush lanes. We won't get two people in the same gap and leave a space for the quarterback to get outside. So you have to play team defense when you place a quarterback that's athletic and that can make things happen with his feet. But I think Miller Armstrong will do a great job for us this week. Good deal. I appreciate y'all coming. Thank you very much.